You know, when a cyclone is bearing down, getting a warning in time, well, that's literally the difference between life and death. But what happens when you're on the absolute front lines of climate change, scattered across 83 remote islands? Today, we're going to look at how the nation of Vanuatu is completely rewriting the playbook on climate communication.
And the stakes here, they could not be higher. I mean, Vanuatu lives with this constant threat of natural hazards, and it's a reality that's only getting more intense with our changing climate. So for them, a solid warning system isn't just a nice-to-have. It is an absolute necessity for survival.
And that right there is the million-dollar question. It's a massive logistical puzzle. How do you actually bridge that gap between a national forecast center and a tiny remote village, what experts often call the last mile?
It turns out, solving this isn't as simple as just, setting up a bigger antenna. The real problem is so much deeper, and it all starts with one word: understanding.
Just take a look at this. Before this project really got going, a survey in Malekula found something pretty startling. A whopping 70% of people felt they had a poor understanding of the official weather forecasts. The information was getting out there, but it wasn't landing.
And here's another piece of the puzzle. There was this tool, the Climate Watch app, designed to capture local traditional knowledge. But guess what? A staggering 90% of people they surveyed had never even heard of it. That's not a gap, that's a canyon.
So you start to see the real picture. The challenge is layered. It's about access to technology for sure, but it's also about translating complex scientific jargon into advice that actually makes sense. And maybe most importantly, it's about building trust with communities who have their own ways of reading the world around them.
So, the first part of the solution was to tackle that access problem head-on. The goal? To forge a digital lifeline that could reach even the most isolated islands.
And they came at this from two angles. First, there's the new VMGD weather app. It puts real-time alerts for everything from weather to earthquakes right into people's pockets. Then, for places with less connectivity, they set up these community climate centers, physical hubs with Starlink internet that act as a reliable info source for the whole village.
And the response? It was immediate and, well, huge. In just the first 6 months, the weather app saw over 63,000 visits. It was so clear that this was a tool people were desperately waiting for.
And this really gets to the heart of it. As Vanuatu's Minister of Climate Change, Rolf Regenvanu, put it, the whole point was empowerment. It's about giving people the ability to make their own informed decisions, to protect their farms, their homes, their families.
But like we said, just building the tech is never enough. I mean, the most sophisticated app in the world is totally useless if people don't know how to use it, don't understand what it's telling them, or don't trust it. And that's where the human connection comes in.
This is where they really rolled up their sleeves. The project launched this massive, hands-on outreach campaign. We're talking intensive workshops, special consultations to make sure people with disabilities weren't left out, and even going into schools to build climate literacy right from a young age.
And the scale of this thing is just incredible. Look at this timeline from 2025. It's relentless. Month after month, teams were crisscrossing the islands, from Tana way down south to Torba up north, training, listening, and just building those crucial relationships.
This quote from a local area administrator, Mr. Remy Nambil, just says it all. This whole thing represents a huge shift, from relying on late-breaking rumors to having proactive resilience. It's all about giving communities a sense of control over their own safety.
Okay, now here's where the approach gets really cool. Instead of just trying to replace old ways of knowing with new ones, the project focused on blending modern science with centuries of local ancestral wisdom.
So what exactly is traditional knowledge, or TK? Well, think of it as a deep, place-based science passed down through generations. It's knowing that when a specific tree starts to flower, the dry season is just around the corner, or that the way certain birds are behaving might signal a big storm is on its way.
And the process for integrating this is so elegantly simple and respectful. First, teams work side by side with communities to document these local indicators. Second, people use the Climate Watch app to log their observations, creating this incredible citizen science database. And finally, all those insights are used to make the official scientific forecasts even better.
And this isn't just an idea on paper. It is happening right now, on the ground. On the island of Aramango, it led to 18 brand new spots for monitoring these traditional signs. Over in Tana, they established the first ever Climate Watch trail. It works because it builds trust and makes the final forecast way more accurate and relevant to the local people.
Okay, so we have the tech and we have the community engagement, but what about the real, tangible impact? I mean, is the gap actually closing? So let's just quickly rewind and remember where we started. Before this project, there was that massive 90% awareness gap around a key tool for blending science and local knowledge. That is a huge divide to cross.
And now, look at the after. Because of this integrated approach, you have new monitoring spots that are active, you have climate watch trails being walked, and, this is my favorite part, you have local climate champions being trained and empowered to lead these efforts right inside their own communities.
And this is why it all matters. It's for people like Annaline Rungu, who's a nurse and now a climate champion. Her words really show the profound human impact of this work. It's about building confidence, it's about fostering inclusion, and it's about making sure that no one, especially the most vulnerable, ever gets left behind. Which really leaves us with a final, powerful question. Vanuatu has shown that the most effective solutions don't always come from satellites and supercomputers. Sometimes they come from deep community partnership. So could this respectful fusion of ancient wisdom and modern data be the model that other vulnerable nations so desperately need to navigate our shared climate future?